Hello, this is discussion forum on U.S. public education system. We've been talking about the failure of education, public education system, and the states. And there is this survey that 63% of American parents, they answered that math, science, and computer technology are essential proficiency in the States, and those parents are not happy about what their kids are getting. So based on these problems, what could be the possible solutions to tackle the problems? James?
Well, I think that statistic you've given us is I think reflective of the overall mood of this country, but it still also shows that about 37% of America's parents are clueless, because we do need much better math and technological education. In fact, the growth of technology, I believe, in the coming decades will completely transform American education. We need more customization in the way classes are taught. We need more reliance on outside sources. There's this kind of deeply ingrained belief among educators that truly learning something requires you to internalize it, and using things like calculators or computers or whatnot is cheating.
Yeah.
But that's not how things work in the real world. Outside tools or specializations are used all the time, and we need more hands-on work for our students in order to really get them motivated to learn and work towards the future. Too often, American education is very theoretical or just composed of memorizing things, and this might have been okay for the days when we were preparing people to be good little factory workers, but this will no longer work in the 21st century.
Well, I'm just curious about the calculator thing. Do American high school kids use calculators?
It really depends, because I've seen some schools and some teachers trying to push to not use them, because we know other countries, students are at such a higher level where they grew up not using calculators, or so very minimal, where American students, even myself included, we were drilled in with calculators. We've always been able to use them, and when we don't have access to them, it's just over.
Because we don't use calculator until we go to college.
I love it.
And that's really important, because by not using calculator, but just using hands and your brains, your frontal lobe, where account for executive function, it develops better, more intricately.
Love it.
And Indians are even better than us. We Korean students, they have to memorize the multiplication table up to 9 times, but the Indians learn up to 12 times. They have to memorize. I think that is why a lot of the math Olympic gold medalists are the Indians.
Yeah, I really find it fascinating. I really agree with that. I'd love to see us not having to use calculators like that.
Because I saw some students looking at the multiplication table or division table. It's really not helpful academically.
No, it's not. I'm going to give another example. If you were to ask me my multiplication tables maybe back in 9th grade, I could tell them like that. But after I came here to Penn State and started going through the math, it was like, okay, I know this at one point, now what was it? Okay, calculator. And I felt even bad for using it, but we went through that with the whole chart thing, but you're right, we only go up to 9, sometimes 10, but 10's easy, but still.
Okay, beside the math calculator use, what could be the possible solutions?
I think there's a solution for every problem, at least one solution for every problem, and we have a lot of problems, so it's not just one thing that we can do to fix our problem in education. But one of the best things that I think we could do is start with the parents, because where do kids, students learn most of their things when they're growing up? It's from their parents. If we can help the parents and then help the kids in school, we need to really bump up our curriculum. To give an example, again, over in Arizona, when we visited the boarding school, their 7th and 8th grade students were already so advanced in algebra. When I was in 7th and 8th grade, I don't even think I started algebra until 9th grade, to be honest. And they say, well, find X. Well, here it is. I mean, what are you going to do? But I think the solution to that problem is make things more advanced and start students younger. Have them do more younger. Instead of just, in 2nd grade we were learning addition and subtraction, 3rd grade multiplication and division. Well, why not learn all 4 of those in one and then just really bump it up and really hit hard with each grade level that keeps going up? By the time they reach 9th grade, get them ready for calculus. I mean, you can time it out and you can do it where these students will be able to. That's some of the solutions I have to some of the problems.
Well, I think more than anything else, reduce the size of the math class and science class is essential, because students and teachers ratio, it is critical. So less students, it gives better chance to interact with a teacher. And they are somehow forced to participate in classrooms. That means recruiting more math and science teachers.
And that puts together another problem, because in order to teach high school or lower in America, you need to have a certificate and pass a bunch of tests stating that you know what you're knowing and you can teach these kids.
That is why we need an incentive program.
That would make sense too.
And lastly, I think standardizing math and science curricular and exams is pretty important. For example, maybe we can use AP courses or IB courses, International Baccalaureate and Advanced Placement. We can use the current systems as standardized classes, curricular, and exams.
The standard's already there, we're just not doing it.
I agree. There are several things we can do in this country. First of all, we need to end the local control of school districts. There are too many funding issues with property taxes, too many disparate regions in the nation where the quality of education is like sometimes stepping from a first world country to a third world country. And this can only be allowed to happen. We need to, and secondly, I believe we need to get the focus off of sports and some of the public schools in this country. You know, you don't need $1.5 million for a new football stadium. How about some new textbooks, a lot of which were outdated when I went to high school. Thirdly, we need to introduce more technology in the classrooms, and of course all of these things require money, but I'd rather spend it on education than as much as we do on prisons. And overall, we need to build, and this is going to be the hardest one, we need to build a culture of education in this country. A lot of Americans are in love with the benefits of education, you know, higher pay, more gadgets, but not a lot of Americans believe in education. And this goes all the way back to historians like Richard Hofstadter wrote, you know, Anti-Intellectualism in American Life. It is simply unacceptable. The world is passing this country by, and we need to solve the issues now. No more waiting, no more pussyfooting around. Solve it!
Yeah! But it's interesting you bring that up. I'm sorry to interrupt, but There's an interesting statistic that each year the United States spends $9,644 per student compared to $22,600 per prison inmate.
We'll come back to you shortly.
You can take my medication.
Easy.